approval process. And in last session, we were discussed about using Jumpstart wizard to set up is a simple and straightforward approval process. Let's say if I have like more than one step, I need to have more than one approver, then I need to go with the standard setup wizard. Process name, I'll say that multi-step invoice approval. So my process name is I'm mentioning as a multi-step invoice approval. So if you remember, if you really compare the old one and the new one, let's say, let me go to the Jumpstart wizard now. I'll show you an example here how it looks. And remember, you need to select the object first. If you don't select an object, that it will not come. So now if I say Jumpstart wizard, what happens? You have entire screen, I mean all the options, criteria and all different options available in the same screen. But in the standard setup is that it's screen one, screen two, and next step up to how many steps we have? 6 steps we have. Next, and now the criteria. Now you see the name I entered, and now it is talking about some name criteria. So criteria I'll say here status equals, I'm saying status equal to build will be my criteria, nothing else. Next. Now come back in the previous step. Status equal to build, nothing else I added. This is just a criteria to select what type of records should enter into the approval process. Next, and now next automate approval determined by. So how this will automatically assigns. So either you can say manager or create new hierarchical field. What is this? We discussed about master detail relationship. We discussed about lookup fields. What is hierarchical fields? What is hierarchical fields? So hierarchical fields you can able to create only in one object called user object. You can able to create a hierarchy relationship field in user object. If I go to objects, if I go to users, sorry, user, if I go to fields and relationship, click new, I don't have an option to create an lookup or master detail here. I have only which type of field that I can create here? Hierarchical relationship. That is only allowed and option enabled for a user object. User object clear? Any question on this hierarchy relationship? Hierarchy relationship is something like I am an employee. Who is my boss? Boss to boss. This is how the hierarchy I am talking about. Clear? Okay. So now this is a hierarchy relationship. We don't need to be here, let's say. On what basis I need to define? There is already a standard field available in a user record. If I can go to my setup, if I can go to my setup, I'll say users. If I go to users, there is already field available. Let's say if I open my object record, I mean my user record, I can see a manager field, right? But if you are not satisfied with this manager field or you have some other business functionality, you will end up in creating a new custom field with a hierarchy relationship. Clear? Now what I do, I just edit it. For Lakshmi Deepak, who is the manager, I'll select it. Oh, for me, let's say my manager will be my billing employee. I'm saying, imagine that I'm reporting to a billing employee in this way, and I'll go to my billing employee, and for billing employee the manager will be billing manager. So how many levels we have totally? We have two levels, right? Me, billing manager, billing employee, and then billing manager, right? So Lakshmi Deepak reports to a billing employee reports to a billing manager. He is the top. Clear? In this hierarchy you'll understand, right? Any question? Now what happened? I'm choosing next approver determined by manager field. Or you can also create new field, whatever. Administrator can only record. I'll say administrator currently assigned approver can have edit access. Right? It's always good to give edit access even for approvers. Next, approval email template. Do we have any email template that we need to create? So we didn't discuss about any email template. Let's say as soon as request submit for an approval, this email template will send out to a approver so that they will get to know, hey, there is a record which is in pending to get approved or reviewed. So for now we don't have any template. So I'm just leaving as it is. This is not a required thing that we need to do. Next. And what are the fields that need to be displayed in the approval layout? Let's say I'll take out all fields. Let's say it's loading. I'll add it to all fields to my page layout. Display approval history information, the field. Do you want to display that history also? And this is how it looks. After doing, you'll get your entire record details, approve, reject, or cancel, and the approval history, who approved and why they approved in the earlier cases and everything. This is how accurately we'll get the approval layout going forward. All approval to access approval page only from within the Salesforce application or allow approvers access approval page within the Salesforce application or externally from the wireless enabled mobile device. If they wanted to use a mobile devices, small devices, which they can able to wireless enabled in the sense internet enabled mobile devices. Okay, smartphones. If they wanted to approve or reject through a smartphone, they can able to do. That's what I mentioned. Next, and now who need to be submitted. Let's say submitted by owner. And who is the owner? Account owner can submit the invoice now. Allow submitters to recall. Let's say you submitted a one pending request or like a leave request to your manager, and later you realize, hey, I don't want to take a leave. Let me cancel out. You have an option to cancel, right? The same thing is nothing but recall. Recall is nothing but requesting back a approval process saying that, hey, I don't want to be approved. It's okay to leave it. Nothing but a cancel in basic terms. Next. Yes, I would like to create an approval process step now. You wanted to create a step in the sense multiple. So I'm creating a step one. I'll say step name, I'll say that. First step when submitted. Unique name is done. Description, it's okay. And step number is one. I mean, first step. Next. All records should enter this step. Let's say you have two criteria and each step have a different criteria. We have a criteria for approval process. Now if this record entered to a approval step, do you need any extra criteria? Now in this case I'm saying all my records should enter this step. I don't have any filters before going to this step. Next, let's submitter choose manually. To which approver it need to be assigned directly by automated process or to a specific user or by choosing manually. Let's say we decided to go with automatically. Let's automatically assign using user field selected manager. So whoever submitting this request based on the logged in user manager, my manager will be automatically submitted. Say I would like to create a new approval action. You just created an approval step. You'll optionally specify workflow actions upon approval and rejection of these steps. So what happens if I approve or reject these steps? Let's say I'll create new field update. I wanted to create a new field update. Next. Otherwise I'll cancel it out here. It's okay. Now we have one step, right? Now in this, we don't have initial submit action. Let me create one field update saying that initial submission. Invoice initial submission. Unique name is okay. Field to update, I'll say total, oh, amount paid, action of approval. And I'll say use formula to update. I'll say initial approval submission action. Say. So one thing I created called initial submission action is a field update as soon as in the initial submit action. In the final approval action, I'll create one more field update. Field update. This is a final invoice approved. Field to update the same field I update called action of approval. Use formula final action approved invoice. Save. And we also have same thing called final reject action. Let me update another field update. Final reject invoice action. And here I'll say action of approval will be formula field to define a value. Final reject action. Save. Sorry. Oh, okay. And this is how good. And I can say here show actions. Here there is a steps, right? In step one, what I'm doing, Satya message me, I'm just texting you. So now in approval steps, there also have a separate thing. Each approve step will have their approve action and reject action. There is no like initial, final, and final rejection. So here I'll add like approval step, field update. Here what I do, first step, approve action. And which field? The same field I'm updating always. Use a formula, I'll say first step, approve action. Save. And the same way we have reject action for final step. First step, reject action. Action of approve. First step, reject. So we have like what we created, we create one step and we decided to have one more step here, right? I'll create a new approval step. Employee approval action. So this is a step 2 and I'll say next. And again I'm saying all records should enter this step. I don't want to filter anything. Next. Assign automatically based on the owner. Yes. Okay, okay. No. I'll do this later. Go. Simple thing I need to edit. There is one step I forgot to mention. Next. Next. Here you can see what is the reject behavior. What should happen if the approver reject this request? Perform all reject action of the step and all on final rejection. What does it mean? Let's say I have two approval process, two steps. In two steps, one manager is approved, one manager is rejected. What will be the final one? If they wanted, hey, if the business scenario says I should get record should get approved by all managers, then only it will say that approved. Or there are also other saying that if any one of the manager get approved, it's okay. Then we consider it as a approved. So this is only unconditioned. Considering everyone is approved or rejected, then it will go. Else, if anyone rejected, then it will be rejected. Clear? Understood this? So let's say you for business users, let's say when this record need to be rejected completely. I have two approval steps. In any one of the manager rejects, then I need to consider this as a rejected. If any one of the manager is approved, then I'll say that hey, it's approved. Now in this case, what happens? Perform all reject action of this step and final reject action, then final. If any one of the person is rejected, then this will be a final rejection. Or perform only the reject action for this step and send back to the approval request back to the more recent approval. Let's see here. Now, if I reject, instead of getting a final rejection, do I need to go to the first step? That's what it means. You cleared? If I reject, right, it will go back to my previous one. Now I'm selecting this just to show save. And the same way we can see, do we have that functionality enabled here? Next, 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 save. Okay, we don't have anything. Cool. Again, we need to have like field update. Second step, approve action. And I'll say step 2, approve action, save. And same thing we can do like here, field update, second step, reject action, approve action, use blank fields. Now we can say second step, reject action, save. Now we got everything ready. Every step we have one field update just to mention like where are we landed up, right? So I'm activating it now. I'll go back to my all approval process and on record creation multi-step I'll deactivate this. I don't need like two process approval process in one step. I have one active, so I'll go to my users, invoice 11, and I'll say whether it is billed, yes, and I'll submit for approval, submit for approval. Uh, wanted to get approved after reviewing, submit. A workflow update caused error, contact your action on approval. Data too large in initial approval step field length. Oh, the problem is that we created one field which have field length 10, but which is causing an error now. So I'll go to my invoice. I'll update my field length somewhere to 20 or like 30 because the text size is 10 total characters, so I need to improve it to make it better. I'll say 100, save it. Now I'll come back. I'll submit for an approval. Approve after review. Save. So it got submitted. If I go to my related list, in the approval history, what it is saying, first step, when submitted, right? It got submitted when this is a old one, don't worry, yesterday's example. Now when submitted, this is pending and user. So we'll see what is there in our approve action. Where is approve action? We don't have any here. Okay. Do we have different layouts for this object? Edit object. You can able to see anywhere action approved, fields and relationships, page layouts, invoice layout, page layout, invoice layout. Let me check it out quickly. The action of approval which is there, and I'll say employee layout which is there, manager layout. Interesting, it was there. Fields and relationships. Action of approval. Need to check it out. My security. Set field level security. Visible for everyone, but why it is not coming? Inspect. Empty cache and hard reload. So there might be a cache issue. Let's see. I don't have anything cool. Okay, we have here. Cool. So what we are getting? Initial approval submission action, right? The same thing we had from here, isn't it? This initial submit action, right? And to whom it got submitted? To a first step when submitted. So you can see when submitted. Got it? Now, if I log in as this user, let me go. I log in as this user. Remind me later. Got it. User details. I'll log in as this user and I'll approve the record. Login. Refresh. Now I'll go here and I'll say approve. And I'll say approve. So I'm approving as a first step. Good till now. Approved. So automatically it need to submit it to the next manager. To whom? My billing employee manager is billing manager. If I go to details, first step approved action, right? The field update is getting updated. If I go to billing manager now, let me log out from here. I'll say log out and I'll go to my billing manager. And I'll go to my billing manager. User details. Login. Okay. Now invoices. Present level. Now you can see here, first step approved. So what I'll do here, I'll approve this one as a billing manager. Good. Approved. The record got approved. So final approval invoice. Clear. So the only focus on this, first you need to know what are the steps that you need to write, and based on that you can add more than one step. Once it is active, you can't modify. If you want to modify, you need to deactivate it. Clear? Any question on this? I know it is like a little big and little confusing options, but yeah, if you have any questions, please go ahead.